Good morning, ladies. Are you ready to fight Friday? Fighting Friday?
Fight every day.
Ready. Set. Good morning, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good today.
Shanda, how are you doing?
I woke up late and I feel like I'm chasing my ass. That's all I do when I wake up late. But can I say, I love the new font on the new title for the dive. It reminds me of a dive bar.
Oh, good. Yeah, and somebody pointed out, I think it was in the chat the other day, somebody on Rockfin, which please, go over and sign up on Rockfin and just sign up through us. That would be helpful. Somebody on Rockfin said, oh, there's a dive on there. And I said, yeah, I know. We were here first with the daily dive, but it's just a name. And it's what's in the name. What's the content of the name is what counts. So anyway, good morning, Melissa. Hi, Snork. Professor Snork. How you doing, man? Who else do we have in there? We got more than two or three. Yeah, we got Melissa. It's just everybody's just kind of listening probably.
We're going to talk quiet because Melissa has a little bit of a migraine this morning.
Do you have a migraine? Oh, shit.
I had one yesterday. I feel you.
Yeah, well, I wonder why. I'm going to attribute most of my migraines to this shit show of a Congress we've got. It's really, really terrible. But we got two of our favorite people up there, that cue ball Kramer. I'm sorry I'm related to him. And then we've got Aunt Nancy. Now what distinguishing figures, when you think of Nancy Pelosi, what do you think of as far as her features? Her dress, her nose, her hair. What do you think of, Amber?
I think of her floating teeth.
Okay, floating teeth. Amber,
they're always like loose.
Yeah, well, what do you think? This is really low. I mean, we're poking fun at people's looks today, but I can because I'm bald. Amber you pointed out what was so interesting about this morning?
Well, I couldn't figure out if she was wearing like the neck mask or goiter scarf. I wasn't quite sure. I mean, that's what I most recognize her with, is with these really ridiculous designer, probably $500
mask with those studs in them.
But the creepy double eyebrow stood out to me, and as a woman, as someone who nobody wants to age, but is this where we're really going, women? I want to know because I need to prepare myself.
Yeah, I just the double eyebrows there, or is that just the eye sockets that are receding so fast? And we're all going to be there at some point in time, except for Shanda. She's got some magic paste that she plugs in her eye sockets, right? Or no, that's
my favorite part is when you actually play the clip. I was just born with it.
Yeah,
your ability to relate to the working class.
Well, with that said, I'm being prompt to do the clip. I do one more thing here. So relatable. One more thing here, though, is everybody in Congress will never beat this flag lapel pin that Nancy Pelosi has. I think she needs to get it just a little bit bigger, and then she can substitute it for a boat anchor when she goes out swimming.
It looks like a seagull from here.
Yeah. She says, I have to do this because Speaker Pelosi is blocking checks to you, and she's blocking rent relief. What do? I mean, it's probably illegal, but if he does it and does it against you, when we come in on Monday, what are you going to say?
Well, let's not talk about him. Let's talk about what the right thing is to do. Now, he can extend the moratorium, and I hope that he does. But you can't just have a moratorium. You have to have money. So if they extend the moratorium, people won't have to pay their rent just yet. It'll be pushed further down the road unless we give some money for them to compensate for what they have to get. And that's not just for the renters. That's for the landlords. What good is it to the landlords if you have a moratorium until the end of the year for people to pay their rent unless there's some money to help pay the rent? That's just one of the things. Again, we have in there, it's about jobs. If people have jobs, then everything is better. If we have a scientific approach to defeating the virus, everything is better. That's why we have in there jobs, that is honoring our heroes, healthcare workers, first responders, teachers, sanitation, transportation workers, etc. that are paid for, are employed by state and local government. If they don't get this money, many of these people, millions of them, will be unemployed and go on unemployment insurance. So what money is that saving as it reduces services for those who are risking their lives to save lives? Now they're going to lose their job because all of a sudden the Republicans have become deficit hawks and don't want to support state and local governments, Democrats and Republican mayors, governors, county executives, etc.
Because of all the shitty things we do.
Let's not talk about
I speak fluent Pelosi.
Yeah.
I speak fluent Pelosi. This seems like it must have been an early morning interview because her teeth aren't floating as much as they normally do, or maybe her Fixodent's holding. I know that's terrible, but come on, we all know it's true. She couldn't just come right out and say a rent moratorium doesn't do any good if we don't give them money for the mortgage. I mean, her brain short-circuited that out. I mean, she's as bad as fucking Biden.
Well, she's a landlord, for one thing. So she's got to make sure she gets paid.
Right,
Like she understands. This is something she understands well. Let's get that straight. Let's not talk about the right thing to do because, what did she say? Our heroes, our teachers, because how many teachers are losing their jobs this year? Anybody want to guess? Like what percentage? The amount of people she talked about supporting, what is that? Like 2% of the working force? Like the rest of us were fucked, but if you're a teacher or a medical worker, or you want to drive empty buses around because nobody's actually riding the freaking bus anymore because we have no jobs, it's fine. We'll keep those services running, bloat the government, and not really actually create any, like that wasn't creating any new jobs. It's shocking to me.
Well, again, we can cap on all these goons all we want, and they are goons, and I see that a lot. Hey, Dennis McCartney's back in here. Good morning, Dennis. Thank you for your support yesterday on Joy's show. That was very, very appreciated. Andy Ann. Jilly. Hey, Jilly. Snarky's chatting a lot this morning. And we do appreciate that. We like lots of chat, we're getting to the point this week with these negotiations, if that's what you call them. I call it a show, making it out like they're both playing chicken with each other, where they're really not. They're just, they're starving the public. And I think this is a big mistake. But we're going to go into this. This is from Rising this morning, and it's going to talk about where they aren't in this job situation, Amber. So let's listen to see what they say here.
While the country burned? No, of course not. And I think this is all like with Trump. The Republicans don't want him involved in the negotiation because they don't want the blood on his hands. They want to sort of have him say, my people were out there negotiating, and he can scapegoat Mnuchin, or he can scapegoat Congress, whatever it is, when this fails. And that's why he's not involved in it. I almost guarantee you that's what's going on here. So yes, he would be throwing a fit. This is everything that he should stand against. The stopgaps, as dysfunctional as they always are, as dysfunctional as Congress always is in the negotiations, they get them done because they throw a bunch of cronyist stuff in there, and then they can come together on a couple basic points. And that's it. We're not even seeing that right now. We're not even seeing that. They can't even come to the table to meet between $400 and $600, $200 a week. They can't come to anything between that.
And I want people to understand, another new study out, 30 to 40 million Americans facing potential homelessness, right? Even if it's a fraction of that, even that's way off and it's a fraction of that. Currently, in all of America, there are 500,000 unhoused people, okay? So we're talking 30 to 40 million. Cut it in half. Say it's 20 million. Say it's 10 million. This is unconscionable. And so the fact that they're dithering that they can't get something done, I can't wrap my head around it. Let's take a listen to what Mark Meadows had to say yesterday about the potential executive orders.
Let's not listen to Mark Meadows, but yeah, it's like, are you kidding me? And thank you, Kamala Harris, for Steve Mnuchin. We so appreciate it, you traitor. No, she's not a traitor. She's just one of the members of the club Fed, Club DC, whatever you want to call it. That's shocking. Now, Amber, you just said, what kind of jobs is Pelosi talking about saving? Well, 30 to 40 million people losing their homes. Do you think that's going to have an effect on the election or the next administration?
Appears not.
They don't talk about it.
They don't give a shit. I mean, that just blows my brains out. And Crystal is not necessarily optically as passionate as I am when it comes to this, but I'm saying, what the fuck? What is going on here? 30 to 40 million people losing their homes. And how many people usually vote in an election? 160 million, maybe, out of our entire country. I mean, that's going to put some people out on the street, and they're going to be pissed. And I, for the life of me, can't figure out who I really should be pissed off about. Or maybe I can. Who are you guys pissed off at? Shamber?
Oh, I'll take this one. Pissed off. Well, let's talk about this. You can't, most of the time, anybody who's housing insecure is not registered to vote at a correct address. So that automatically takes us poor people out of the equation. We've already got our, 300 million in prison with felony convictions, so they can't vote. So it's just another culling of the, it's a large sweeping way to get a large homeless population, which is going to be super fun in pandemic times. Like, I can't even imagine the fun here. Big win, I guess, is that in Seattle yesterday, they stopped funding the Seattle Police Department from doing more sweeps, which had been recommended to be stopped at the beginning of the virus, but they ended it. So, city by city, we're going to have to take people over, I guess, in this, because they really don't get it. Like, these jobs are not coming back, and that's the bullshit. They won't accept the reality. We've entered the age of automation. Half of these jobs are never coming back because we're never giving our economy and supporting small businesses in meaningful ways. Those PPP dollars that you just went to are gone. They're spent. They're not carrying people into hiring more labor.
They're in offshore accounts.
Yeah,
or it's just paying for the top management.
And those
all you have left, and you can't scale that up.
And those PPP dollars, aren't they done tomorrow, the 8th of August?
Tomorrow's the last day to file for PPP.
Okay,
They keep extending a week. It was supposed to be.
They can't extend unemployment. No, we can't talk about that.
Well, I don't get this, because they set the deadlines of this temporary kicking the can down the road. They knew the dates were coming. They should have been fucking working on this shit. God, I'm saying the F-bomb
too much.
They
needed vacation.
They thought they were going to be on vacation when these expired, so,
Well, I don't know. I think here, Jilly. Gosh, Jilly, it's a big club, baby. They can all go fuck themselves. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I saw one of our friends put up a meme that I'm going to find here in a little bit yesterday that kind of expresses the same feeling. But truly, this is insane. I mean, the economy, the country, the unrest. I mean, they were referencing us as becoming a third world country. I think we've been a third world country. We are a third world country. We're just like going down the rat hole, and the miles and miles of yachts in Florida. I guess my only hope is that when the next hurricane comes in, it pitches them all into the sun. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I'm with Brahma if you want to show his comment. I think he's dead on as usual. We're usually on the same page. It's just one of those situations where they don't give a shit. Yachting season has been off the charts. However, in the Pacific Northwest, we've seen all kinds of beautiful luxury yachts cruising up and down the Inside Passage to Alaska and traveling internationally. Every rich person's on yacht vacation. Yeah. But the rest of us are fucked, and they don't care, and they're not interested in figuring out actual ways to give us, say, a federal jobs guarantee, or put this into, an actual labor package that will work, but you're looking, if they don't start realizing this really is bigger than the Great Depression, and they're all in denial, our whole country's been in fucking denial anyway. We've been in denial that our healthcare sucks. We've been in denial of our oligarchy. We've been in denial of the media. We've been in denial of surveillance. And it's going to be too late. Brahm says voting isn't the answer. Well, you know what? That's true, because they've continually, for the last 30 years, been trying to get people ineligible to vote.
Yep.
And they don't care when we do vote. And that when we've seen that, the only votes that matter are small down ballot local elections.
The history tells us exactly what is coming and what will happen. Every empire on decline does the same three things, and that's overextends themselves. Things that they can come in with their imperialism and take over an area. We do these things. We've always done these things, but the point that the elite are missing is there's a breaking point where the people can't take it anymore, and we're at that fucking point. Go ahead, throw a bunch of people out of their houses. Don't send their kids to school. Everybody's sick. Nobody has health insurance, and see what actually fucking happens. And history tells us what's happened. These people are going to get drug out of their house. They're going to get shamed, and God knows it could be much worse than that.
Well, this is, they're just getting prepped for this. Some see it's coming up there, I think, because they've been practicing with Black Lives Matter, with sending the feds out there. I mean, Giuliani said yesterday or the day before that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. So, they're practicing up. But when you're talking about 30 to 40 million being thrown out, the potential of how many thousands of them are going to be pissed enough to get in the streets, I'm hopeful. I guess that's the glass half full. Is this the comment that you wanted me to put from Brom here? Okay. Yeah. Brom, I think this is going to be the impetus of our impending revolution. The amount of people without homes or jobs are going to be easy to mobilize against the establishment. Voting isn't the answer. Well, you know what? I agree with you 99%, Brom. I think voting, as far as voting, we should keep voting, but that whole trend, once we get the voting system to where it's not rigged and corrupted so bad, I think that voting could be an answer. And when you mobilize all these people and get them out in the streets, it'll scare the poop out of Congress. I mean, it'll scare the poop out of Pelosi easier than it does others, Pelosi and Biden and the rest. So, yeah, right on. And thanks for the heads up on these comments, because I've got to look around my mic stand to read them. Yeah, I'm with you guys, and it's getting rough. And Amber, your salient point about we're in a fucking depression. We are, and they're not paying fucking attention. Are they so arrogant? Is the hubris so much that they can play these fucking games in D.C.?
They don't fucking care, Oz. They've got their bunkers. They want a huge portion of us fucking gone, and anybody who doesn't believe that is not paying attention. We're the ones taking their precious resources, so we got to go. They'll go hide in their bunkers, and civilization will break down, and a bunch of us will die and go away, and then they can come back and rule what's left.
Well, I'm this attitude they have, behavioral pattern of eat cake and slurp on caviar and drink champagne is coming to an end. These goddamn dinner parties and cocktail parties and everything, they're coming to an end, because I believe that with this many people being visibly fucked right in front of our eyes, including us, we're not immune to it. We're going to say we've had enough and we're not going to take it anymore. And I'm not inciting anything. I'm just stating what I believe to be the facts of the not too distant future. So, that's where I'm at. I don't know. Well,
yeah, I actually read an article the other day that they were seriously discussing adding lithium to the water supply.
Yes. They're already dumping lithium on us, from what I understand. But yeah, they want to put it in our water.
Well, shit.
Well, and that's very Roman Empire. I mean,
it is.
We've seen it with glyphosate across the world. Like, what deadens your brain and causes mass,
TV
casualty. That I think is the number one criminal here in our public healthcare system in the U.S. is that we're so utterly toxic from our poisoned food and water and soil that we do have the worst health. So of course we're going to have the highest death count in COVID.
Did you see the report where boomers have the worst cognitive function of any generation?
I'm not surprised. Look at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit.
Teflon babies.
Yeah, Teflon baby. Yeah, it's cognitive denial too on top of all that. I just, again, so they're going to put lithium. So how are they going to deliver it in the water supply? It's not going to be, like bundled with fluoride and everything else that's great in toothpaste and mouthwash. No, just straight into
Not yet.
straight.
I mean, and there are cases for adding lithium orate to the diet, but I'm sure they'll add the worst kind of lithium, like that, it's just enough so that it's a good sound bite, but they're not actually seeing the benefits of it because the culling is really what they're trying to do in mass, and that's what's going to happen. But they're keeping it kind of calm. They don't want to freak us out too much just yet because they need to keep taking our retirement funds first.
So this is what
until that last straw's done, they can't quite get control of us.
So this is why the big push to clamp down on social media and independent news and Facebook and everything else. I think Facebook's been spanking Donnie on his little bottom for supposedly putting out false information. I saw that recently this week, and I think Fiorilla's having a shit fit, and I don't blame her. What the hell? What's going on, So then again, is this democracy now? I didn't get to preview this. Is this you have me cut this at 3:30. What are we going to go into here with democracy now?
Well, I think it's the clip right after this, but or just a second after this. We're maybe like a second. So
okay. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
We're talking more about our future options here with the economy and
so
virus.
It's an economic thing. Okay, let me fire it up. That we got is that
this is the ending of another coronavirus.
Oh, and that's Dylan Ratigan. It looks like. Okay, let's see.
On Capitol Hill, talks between House Democrats and Republican leaders on a new coronavirus stimulus bill are on the brink of collapse more than a week after enhanced unemployment benefits and a federal moratorium on evictions expired. Meanwhile, Saturday marks the deadline for businesses to apply to the $650 billion Paycheck Protection Program of guaranteed federal loans. The Labor Department reported Thursday 1.2 million U.S. workers filed for state unemployment benefits last week, the lowest total since March, but still an extraordinary level by historical standards. On Thursday, Senators Bernie Sanders, Ed Markey, and Kirsten Gillibrand introduced the Make Billionaires Pay Act, a 60% tax on over $700 billion in windfall profits made this year by the top 0.001% of Americans. Senator Sanders wrote, quote, "We can continue to allow the very rich to get much richer while everyone else gets poorer and poorer, or we can tax the winnings a handful of billionaires made during the pandemic to improve the health and well-being of tens of millions of Americans," Sanders said. The United Nations is warning of a humanitarian...
All right. Boop. Yeah. How nice. How nice. So can you just break that down a little bit tighter, Amber?
Sure. What did we say the other day? That Bezos made $13 billion in a day, in an hour, or some crazy bullshit? We just have to do something, or, they're just raping us blind. We have to do something to end wealth inequality. This is a tiny, tiny little step.
It'll never happen.
You don't think? No? I won't go for it. Is that because your $13 billion would impact my ability to make an extra $50?
Yes. Exactly. The elite protect the elite, in the structure that we have right now. It'll never fucking happen. I love Bernie. I love that he introduced this, but they're just going to continue to protect each other.
Well,
what do you think, Oz?
Yeah. It's Cornyn was out on the floor on Wednesday bitching about how we're not incentivizing these people to work. We're de-incentivizing them to go out and get a job with that $600 on their... That Cornyn's such a shitbag. Jesus Christ. How the rich elites in Congress, again, the vast majority of everybody in Congress is close to $1 million. It's the disproportionate representation of the 1% versus the struggling 99% is sickening. And why people don't wake up to that? Why would you send a bazillionaire or a millionaire or somebody potentially to Congress to become a millionaire by the time they get out, and then on top of that get a backdoor job like Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she's getting long in the tooth and the eyebrows, and she made $100 million in her stint in her time in Congress. There goes Shanda in Congress. We'll see if she comes back. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna bring this up here. There she is. She's back. Hi, welcome back, Shanda. What'd you do? Have to go out and get a drink or what? So
I just slipped into another time zone.
Oh, Mandela effect.
Don't forget to take the people off.
Mandela effect. Anyway, I was droning on. I was starting to bore everybody. This is winners and losers segment from this morning on on Rising, and I picked this little segment out, and I don't know why, but I think I'll figure it out when it starts. Let's take a look at this. Here we go. Okay.
Excellent. All right, so my winner for the week, and it has been a long time since I felt that I could say this, is progressives. Some huge wins this week. Rashida Tlaib was the most they said she was in the most danger of the members of the squad. Not only does she wins easily against an opponent that she had faced twice in the past. One time she won narrowly. One time she lost narrowly. This time, hands down, she won no problem. Marquita Bradshaw. This came out of nowhere. She's this leftist, progressive, Medicare, Green New Deal, backed by the Democratic Socialists. She beats, in the Democratic primary in Tennessee to run for the open Senate seat there, she beats the DSCC, Democratic Party-backed candidate, who had raised $2 million plus, and Marquita raised $8K, $10K, somewhere in there. I mean, next to no money. And she comes out of nowhere and wins this Democratic primary. Tough road to hoe for the November, et cetera, but shows there's really something going on. And then, of course, Cori Bush, who we have to talk to this week as well, stuns everyone, beating Congressman Lacy Clay Jr. Seat had been held by him and his dad for more than 50 years. She's a new, member of the squad, and the first one to take out a CBC member, which is really significant. It's not just the old white guys. People are actually looking and saying, no. The fact that you've been here for a long time is not enough. We actually want you to truly represent us, and I think Cori is going to be I think she's going to send shockwaves through this town and really throughout the country as people realize that you are on notice. And so, look, I look back to the Tea Party era, and we're not quite there in terms of the number of incumbents who've been threatened or knocked down.
No, but we're making some progress there. The problem I have is that it's a little bit slow progress. I want to juxtapose this to the Washington state races. Now, Jason Call, who's running against that rotten rat bastard tool Rick Larson up in the 2nd congressional district, is gaining. They're tied third place still, within 600 votes. I'm hoping that he can get past that. Now, do you guys know if they trigger a recount when the percentage is under 0.5 of a difference in those races? Let me fix you, Amber.
It should.
Yeah, I would think it should too.
Every time I quantum leap, it throws our participants on Amber. Can you?
Yeah. I fixed it. So
I'll try not to quantum leap again.
No, it's all right. You can quantum leap.
Let me just fact check that real quick.
Fact check that Jason's 600 votes behind the third place.
Yeah. I don't know. I know it's within a certain pointage that triggers it. Yeah,
and Mariana's still beating Clint, right? Now this race, to those of you across the country, we can't be unique in what we're having because trendings and probabilities say we can't because we're all people and we all have pretty good ideology. At least the populist progressives do in this country. But Mariana went up against Clint Bryson. Okay, he had the endorsements of God behind him. Okay, he had endorsements, he had money, everything. Okay, and their point here was with the gal. What's the gal's name that won again in Tennessee? I'm not familiar enough with her to remember her name. No, Cori Bush won. But there was the other one.
Marquita Bradshaw.
Marquita Bradshaw. Yeah, I'm so glad she's got a wonder. She's got the platform. She's got the Bernie platform for the most part. And Mariana, same thing, has the Bernie platform. So you can take all your money, you assholes, your corporate dark money, garbage money, and shove it up your ass because this is the new generation coming on. I always remember that movie The Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger. It's the new era, And the money is not going to do it. Even when you do rig and corrupt elections, some of us are going to get through. And with more people getting out in the streets, with more people with the courage and conviction like Mariana Everson in Washington 9th District. She's a nurse. I mean, she cares about Medicare for all. Get out of these wars of empire. Let's just start taking care of the people instead of the most wealthy. Let's treat workers right and fairly. Let's support Black Lives Matter. Get in the streets. Let's defund or refund how we do policing and law enforcement and prisons. I mean, that's what people are going to be looking for. You can take your video game and park it because you're getting bit in the ass right now, and we need people like Mariana Everson and Jason Call to get in there. They have raised very little money compared to these corporate-sponsored rat bastard tools like Rick Larson, Del Binney, like Schumer, like Pelosi, like the rest of them. So that's where I'm at, and this is the new day and age. Everybody's getting bent over under the 1%, and the 1% are laughing, and they're throwing us caviar and cake. So let's get behind these candidates that make it through the elections. It's pretty clear who we need to support in November, and we can do it from other states and everything else, and they can cry, oh, they're from another state. No, we are supporting the platforms of these candidates, what we need as a society, what we need for the world, the planet. We're burning up, we're starving to death, and there's floods going around everywhere. I think we've even got a clip of that. So would you guys agree with me a little bit on my points there?
Yeah. We're not quite close. We're close, but we're not quite to recount territory. But it's still early. We do think Jason will make it. It has to be less than half of a percentage, and it has to be less than 2,000 votes difference, or 1,000. Is it 1,000? 2,000. So we're at like 1,900 votes, but we're a little over 1% right now. So very confident. We know progressives vote late. We know the mail takes a few days to get processed. And we're pretty sure he's going to make it through and going all in against these incumbents that just keep taking money, and they've also really tried to co-opt grassroots. You've noticed that across the country,
big time.
And the people are changing too. The people are hurting, and that's why districts like the 19th, are going to back Mariana. She kicks ass. They know it. They know she'll work for them. And it's the same for Jason. He got called out for cutting down a Confederate flag and has been called, divisive and angry white man. And know what?
That would be me.
We don't need any passive, bootlickers in Congress. We need people who will fight for us. Right. And if you can't understand that dynamic, this isn't play nice politics anymore.
No, it's not.
This is our lives at stake. This is our children's future at stake. This is our environment at stake. Yeah. You can't just we need somebody who can, kumbaya and hug on all sides. No, we need to get work done, and we need to work for the people. And so you have a very clear choice.
Yeah, that
whether you personally agree with somebody or not, you have to look at who's doing what for you. Yeah,
that bipartisan mambo they've been doing is nothing but bullshit. Truly, it is. Your point too is that I had somebody reach out in the Washington third congressional district. I had somebody reach out to me the other day, and Carolyn Long, who is a bootlicking establishment candidate, is losing by a wider margin from the metrics of the primary than she did in 2016 against Jamie Herrera Butler, who is terrible. There's no two ways about it. But the problem is the difference between somebody like Carolyn Long and Mariana and these other progressives that have won across the country is they are taking a stand. They are, if not metaphorically, cutting that goddamn flag down, that Dixie flag, Confederate flag down. They're taking a stand. Whereas Carolyn Long, if you went to her website, it's all kind of wishy-washy, feel good, reach across the aisle and work, shore up the ACA and all this bullshit. Well, it's no wonder. she's lost support. And I told this person there's a couple of things here. That's one of them. But when you don't take the stand and you've got so many progressives on the real left, they're not going to take these weak-willed bootlicking candidates that the DNC churns out every day anymore. They're done. This is going to be the trend. I told this person thoughtfully, because they were thoughtful enough to reach out to me and say, hey, we can't do it with this type of candidate, and they were asking, what do you think? And I told them what I thought. We need people who are going to stand up and actually walk their goddamn talk, and that's who people are going to be empowered by, who are going to see the right kind of leadership. It's always a risk with these people, because once they get in there, they could be turned. But I got to say, Carolyn Long is not the answer down in the third. She's against Medicare for all. She's going to play with them on the military budget and everything else. It's all rhetoric, and there's no static, solid positions on anything. And I'll tell you, in the 10th in Washington State, we've got a candidate named Beth Dolio. She's going to go against Marilyn Strickland, who is another very strong Susan Rice kind of DNCer. She's going to do whatever. Okay, so they're saying that, the thing with Beth Dolio is, everybody's been advocating, saying that she's for Medicare for all. Well, I go to her site and there's this big long thing, ultimately, or we'd like to do Medicare for all, but if we can't, we will work together to shore up the ACA, which is, I question Beth. I'm sure she's a great candidate as far as some say on the Green New Deal and things like that. But these candidates are going to say whatever it takes to get them to the next level every goddamn time. So all I want to hear from these candidates is, I am going to vociferously fight for Medicare for all. No bullshit. No, if we can't do this, we're going to do that. So my advice to all of these candidates who want to run is, walk your damn talk. Stand up. Do whatever it takes as far as what the people need, desire, and what's necessary for us to better our society. That was long, but I really wanted to give kind of a microcosm of Washington State, because I know what's happening around the country. We're seeing it with these progressive wins.
Yeah, we are. Absolutely.
Well, and I think our next story speaks so highly to that, because if you can't stand for health care, you can't stand for the environment. They're they're so related and so connected. You have to have good public health, and you have to be able to withstand shit like what we're about to face. And this is happening in Mumbai. It's absolutely insane. This is just rainfall. Monsoon season is over there in a heavily, public city. And I see us taking such terrible care of our people. You can't have a compromise on covering for healthcare. We have got to do some of the things like I see our neighbors to the south doing in Mexico. They have banned sugar-sweetened beverages for children in a couple of their, states. They have ended GMO testing. They are outlawing the spraying of glyphosate. This is going to mean that Mexico will have a healthier population than the United States. And if we don't start realizing how these impact us, it really doesn't matter. You can be all for the Green New Deal, but if you can't cover our healthcare, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make you sick. And some might say, well, why are you showing this catastrophic event behind you in the back, talking about healthcare and glyphosate and everything else? Because it's all tied together. It's all tied together. In the pandemic, these crony assholes in Washington will not admit the truth that Medicare for all is what's going to make our society healthier in the long run and keep family members alive to see each other on their next birthday. So it's all tied together. And again, we see China, the big bad China, well, they're having major floods, major winds, weather swings. And Australia, again, the fires are starting, and so much heinous stuff going around the world. What happened in Beirut the other day? A bomb 1/10 the size of Hiroshima, and I think the body count's up close to 200 now, but the damage, and they were already suffering in their situation. And the irony
American media isn't covering.
Yeah.
I point that out because had this been any other nation in the whole fucking world, it would be nonstop CNN. But because it is where it is, they're not even talking about it. You might get a little clip, but yeah, we're not getting any information.
No, we're not getting any information on it. You know, there is other places. And I want to point out, too, as far as support for Beirut, you know who was first to go help them? It was China. And I think Ukraine and Turkey. Oh, bad China, bad Turkey. Yet they have a catastrophic event in another country, and who's out there going to help them? You know, and then we get shamed, I guess, into helping them. What, 3 days later or something?
3 days later, we finally step up. I mean, the magnitude of this to them is their 9/11. Think of what we were like as a country, and we were much larger after 9/11. I mean, they were already devastated by COVID. They were devastated by economic, suppression and their economy dropping out.
Yeah.
My heart breaks for all of these little, even Iran, what we do to them.
Yeah.
300,000 homes.
300 gone, kaboom. And I am shocked that the death rate is as low as it is. It is amazing. But the point, they were already having so much economic and psychological problems there because they are intentionally. They're done. They've been ground down to nothing there, and you wonder why people get pissed off at the United States. Sanctions are terrorism. Sanctions are the worst kind of terrorism in a multitude of ways too, in my opinion. But
the cold wind a blowing and it's coming for America. We're gonna reap everything that we've sowed.
God, are you a limerick person, Shanda? I think we need to keep you got to keep that going. So,
Limerick Fridays.
Yeah, Limerick Fridays. We could do that. Absolutely. The chat's still flying down. If you guys see anything that we should throw up there, that'd be great. Again, thanks for everybody for joining us. The Green New Death is bullshit. Yeah, Osama, I get you. I mean, it's just a feel-good catchphrase, but just the fact that they're talking about a Green New Deal, I think that will bring to the surface the necessity of actually doing something about the catastrophic climate situation instead of just having some packaged rhetoric out there, because it is waking people up. And I think at heart, people don't want to be ignorant and stupid. They're going to look into it and then find out that, well, this deal needs to be a lot more than the deal. I mean, Shanda's shaking her head. I don't know.
Are we talking about the Green New Deal?
Yeah, we're talking about the Green New Deal.
Okay, I just want to totally shaking my head because we got some serious problems with the Green New Deal. I love the federal jobs guarantee, but that's probably the only part of it that I love.
Yeah, Osama agrees.
Progressives need to start talking about what's actually wrong with it instead of just blindly supporting it and allowing Dems to water it down and co-opt it and push it as their own. I remember the Green New Deal when it was actually green.
I just want to say, but science.
But science. Yeah. But
we don't have to do anything because science is going to save us. Right?
Science.
I mean, that's why
scientists are as paid off
now
as anybody else.
I mean, they'll do anything until it starts hurting the bottom line and inflicting pain upon capitalism. And at that point, they'll stop and figure out how they can monetize the most of it for the most bang for their buck. We're watching oil and gas completely crumble, which thank God should have happened a long time ago.
Right.
They're just moving their money around, though.
Right. Yeah, they're just
Exactly. It's all
It's an awesome opportunity for them to move that money out of the failing fossil fuel and build it up and just continue their profiting.
Yeah.
When the forest dies, we can burn it all. So let's invest in more more green power plants, right? More small modular nuclear reactors, right? Because if we can't see them, the newest design too, it looks like a cute little A-frame in the woods. Like nobody'll know, it won't be some big reactor on the horizon. It's just going to be lots of little cute A-frames in the woods.
Well, we're getting long here. It is the brave new future. It's whatever. I'm gonna be beef jerky hanging on some tree somewhere. But we've got a potential VP pick that's been circulating around social media. I think that it was last night I heard this on Joy's show, is that they're looking like Susan Rice may be maybe that candidate. Boy, when they want to go back to the good old days with Obama, they really want to go back there, don't they? Let's listen to this clip and see what. Then we'll talk about it a little bit, because I have a couple of opinions.
Susan E. Rice would be a travesty if she were chosen to be his VP candidate or for any position in the cabinet. This is from a California delegate for Sanders, who's distributed a letter urging Biden not to back Rice as VP. She pushed for every war against Iraq, Libya, Yemen. She has left a trail of carnage in her wake. Elevating her would be a death wish for the Democratic Party, Emily.
Yeah, so this is interesting because it's different than what we typically see with VP picks. If it is Susan Rice, Biden is not trying to balance the ticket out and make an overture to the left. He's actually just reconfirming that, well, this is the ticket of the sort of like neoliberal Democrats.
Yeah, let's just go back to the Obama era ticket.
Exactly, which is what's so interesting about it. Obviously he has Obama people in his ear. He knows Susan Rice very well, so you can see on paper why it makes sense. But then on paper, in terms of campaign strategy, this is not the thing that's going to make Bernie people get off their couches in some of those Rust Belt states and go vote. This is the opposite. This is one of those things that makes them feel like they're being betrayed again by the party, and the party has no interest in reaching out to them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, on domestic policy, she's really a blank slate. But you have to think about, when you are in the vice presidential position, when you are in those rooms, where does the president have the most unilateral power? And of course, it's on foreign policy. Her record there, not just the Obama administration, but we were talking before the segment, over the course of her career has been very clear, very consistent, very ideological, and very bad. She was also involved in the disastrous decision during the Clinton administration not to prevent genocide in Rwanda. So on the wrong side of that, pushed for every bad conflict that the Obama administration got themselves into over the course of their 8 years. And this is also one of those horseshoe theory of politics things, because the right also absolutely despises Susan Rice. So while it's demotivating for a lot of the left on the Democratic side, I have to think it's actually motivating in a bad way for the right.
It is.
I got war in my heart, that's the song, isn't it? I don't know. Is it? And
she's a woman of color.
Yeah, but they
it has a D next to her name.
But they even said how Obama, she was right there when Obama took us from 2 wars to 7. Wow. Hey, come on.
I remember that.
Oh, you don't? I don't. Shit. Yeah. No, yeah. Melissa says Oz has opinions. Who knew? I mean,
if you look at what actually got Trump elected, and I do believe this, it was his non-intravenous stance. But if you look at what Hillary Clinton, if you talk to even the Democrats 4 years ago, and the problem that they had with Hillary was how war hawkish she was. It's always, Americans generally don't want to be in other countries. We don't want to be in other wars. We don't want people that are going to push for wars. And why the hell they can't figure that out? In my brain, I do not decipher between the Bush administration and Condi Rice and the Obama administration and the Rice. I just see war hawk and with Republican values.
Well, and that's how we've known the whole time. That's who he's trying to pander to, is to Republican values. Remember, I would definitely pick a Republican VP. This is pretty close to that.
And he's going to.
Yeah, I mean, he's going back for the good old days, in the 80s when everybody could just reap it in. He's selling illusion. He's selling illusion of peace and happiness, and we're all gonna survive. And thank God Trump's not out. But the reality is, Trump is out-lefting him right now. That's insane. That is insane.
Whether he'll follow through with any of it, but at least he's going through the motions and he's mouthing the words, which is, the Dems can't even fucking do that, but they can't let Biden out of the basement for 10 seconds. Yesterday morning, he made a disastrous gaffe. I mean, I don't know how well this strategy of lock him up, hiding Biden is going to hold for the next 3 months.
Well, yeah. What are they going to do? Lock him up in the basement and have somebody sitting there with cue cards every time Trump throws him a question, a debate? Go ahead.
Can we even imagine like the back and forth if you actually just like removed all handlers and let the two talk?
Yeah. Hey.
I mean, I would be dying.
Hey.
Literally, I mean, that's the funniest shit
That would be
I've ever imagined.
Hey, Joe, you're muted. You're muted, Joe. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can we hear me? Can we hear me? It's like the progressive.
I shouldn't say that.
It's
That's not my gig.
yeah, it's not my gig. It's not. I shouldn't say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. And he
Better have some cute young female moderators.
Oh yeah, and they're very beautiful. If I was younger, I mean. I would grope you less. This is, we shouldn't be laughing. This is a serious thing. Which one?
Which one? Trump's a groper too.
Oh yeah. He's
Mr. Rapist.
He's the.
And all I can think of is like Sean Connery. It's therapists.
It's therapist. Oh, it's therapist. It's the coochie grabber in chief. It's surreal. I want to fall into the time tunnel or the Mandela effect that Shanda's always telling me that I'm flying through. But truly, this whole thing is, what are we gonna do? How are you gonna vote? You're gonna eat half a bowl of shit, or you're gonna swallow a little harder and vote for Joe. David Dole yesterday did a kind of I liked it because Jamal Bowman actually came out, and I think I even want to do this because of the crowd here. I want to put this in. Jamal Bowman came in and talked about some real truth here, and I want you guys to hear it because if you haven't heard it, so here we go. Let's get this up here. Can we have some sound, Oz? Thank you, Oz. Okay.
Jamal Bowman making a very accurate comment.
Corey, before we go to you, Bernie, if the Democratic establishment didn't gang up on you and jump you, you would have been the nominee for the Democratic Party. You outraised everyone. You was killing them. They had to jump you in order to beat you. So I just want to say that outright. If they didn't jump you, you would have been the nominee. So I just want to say that. My bad. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Jamal. And let me thank all three of you for your support. Rashida and I have been working together for a long time. Jamal, I know you've been there. Corey, I think the last event we did before we had to stop events because of the virus was in St. Louis, and Corey was great.
Okay, it was very kind and thoughtful of Bernie to respond the way he did, but don't you think it was like kind of Gore's concession speech to George Bush back in 2000? I mean, that kind of crap just keeps enabling.
Remember that shit.
Yeah, that kind of crap enables the establishment to keep doing things to us. My thing is, it was Bernie's responsibility to fight tooth and nail to be the candidate who would not kneel to the establishment and then ultimately had to. I have a pretty good idea, along with all of you, how the dirty politics works in D.C., but still, I got the feeling that Bernie was not going to yield to them no matter what. Maybe the deciding factor in him bending the knee was the pandemic and Perez and Biden and the rest of them encouraging people to go out and vote during this pandemic. I think that was the straw that broke Bernie's back in that respect, and I will give him credit for that. I don't like the half a bowl of shit we're getting served right now because of that. So I don't pick on Bernie anymore, per se, other than calling out this sort of thing. What do you guys think about that? About how Jamal Bowman came out? Is Jamal going to get in trouble for saying that? What do you think?
I love when these guys speak a little bit of truth. It's so rare that we actually do get truth or an interview with Bernie where we actually have to, like calling the election fraud out like in 2016. Bernie refuses to address these things, so we never know exactly where he's at, And Bernie always glosses over, oh, well, thank you, and he moves on. But thank you, Pullman, for putting it out there because the whole fucking world knows it. We know that they cut Bernie off at the knees. They're the ones who took him out. And they're even bragging about it now, right?
Well, and I think he saw that. I think he saw it coming, and he saw the blackout happening. And then the pandemic hit, and he was kind of like, shit, I got to get back to Congress because that's where the actual decisions are being made, and nobody's doing jack about helping the people. And I think that's where he kind of just called it out.
Well, and Bernie didn't want to be responsible.
No, he didn't.
They're going to blame us anyway.
Responsible for sending people to the polls to their death.
They're going to blame us anyway. And you know, if for some reason Trump does get reinstalled, you know, they're still going to blame us and Bernie and everything else.
Yeah,
but
that's the first thing they'll do is they'll blame the Bernie bros, even though they're not getting out the vote, they're not making phone calls, they're not knocking on doors. The Republicans are knocking on doors and they're out canvassing. They're actually campaigning. The Dems haven't campaigned one damn bit. They're going to phone in their convention. Biden's not even showing up for the convention. We know that. And then when they lose, they're going to spin around and go, "Look what you did to us, you Bernie bros."
And if they're
and that's the thing too, is Bernie had the only campaign. He had the only actual people on the ground
campaigning.
He knew that we would keep campaigning for him to the fucking end.
Yeah,
he knew that.
Yeah. And this brings me to the crux to the show. I know we're a little long, but this is important because although our social media friends and associates out there in independent media, we don't all agree all the time. I want everybody to remember that. Just because I follow Jimmy Dore or run The Rising a lot, they are doing research and we're just expanding on the research because we don't have the resources they necessarily have. I don't know what they have, but we definitely don't agree with them all the time. And here's one where I personally don't agree with David Dole, and I'm having a hard time explaining why. But let's listen to this, and then you guys can chime in. I know you're not.
So if you have a Biden administration, I'm under no illusions that there's going to be, you know, a Bernie Sanders style platform that's going to get through it. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that you will have an actual fight. There will be discussions. There will be no more Donald Trump taking over the airwaves every goddamn day. There will be we will actually be able to have discussions about policy. Actually be able to have discussions about how to push not just the U.S. forward, but the world forward. And those discussions won't just be had, you know, on YouTube or on Twitter, but by people that are going to be in Congress. So this is a reminder of what this election's about, because it's really easy to fall into the trap of, you know, there's two horrible candidates. No one's not denying that. Two horrible candidates. How can you possibly bring yourself to vote for Joe Biden? I 100% empathize with that. But you have to think about it in a different way. When you have two candidates this bad, you're not voting for the person you like. You're voting for the person that you want to fight. Do you want to fight Donald Trump, who brings his federal officers into various cities? You saw in Portland, snatching up people off the street into unmarked vans, driving off, shooting tear gas into peaceful protests with moms standing at the front of the line? Or do you want to fight a Biden administration? Democrats are incredibly weak. That is one thing about the party. They are incredibly weak. They are horrible at politics, at political strategy. They are horrible at winning people over. But if you have fighters like this, and there's more, obviously. You have Ilhan Omar, AOC, and others. Fighters like this mounting a real fight in Congress against the status quo of a Biden administration. There are going to be real discussions about various issues, especially once Trump is out. Again, we're making a lot of assumptions here. But if Trump is out, you're going to have deeper discussions about healthcare, with all these people now off their health care thanks to losing their job through over COVID-19. You're going to have discussions about lack of income, lack of actual help for people. Cori Bush, I saw a recent video on this after she won her primary. She said one of her first goals is to fight for $2,000 a month for individuals, for Americans.
All right.
Okay, I'm about to lose my shit.
Yeah, shall we?
Who owns Biden? It's the healthcare industry. It's not Trump that is owned by the healthcare industry. You know, David Dole is a cutie. He's a sweetie. I think he understands progressive issues, but he's a Canadian ultimately. He is getting a stimulus from his country. He has health care. He is not having to worry about these things. It's easy to say, oh, well, we'll just put them in there and then we'll fight them. We can't fight them now. They don't listen to us. Are you kidding? Oh, well, we'll put pressure on them. There is no putting pressure on owners. These are owners. They don't care. They're not going to get in there and fight for the everyday people. They will. AOC, how many times has she bent the knee? How many damn times has she bent the knee? No, I think it's easier. Trump, at least we see this shit straight on coming at us. We know exactly what they're going to do, how they're going to react. That's easier to fight, and it's in everybody's face. The whole country right now knows that Trump has his own elite little police force, his brown shirts that he's sending out over protesters. If that was the Democrats, they would lull us back to sleep with their platitudes and bullshit, and there is no fight, just like there was no fight under Obama. Don't tell me. I mean, we could have the complete House, Senate, we could have it all, and they still won't give it to the American people. Why? Because of the owners, because of the donors. It's not going to change. This argument to me is it's not an argument. I think it's a misunderstanding. You misunderstand what is going to happen.
Okay.
100% agree.
All right, Amber.
I mean, it's, and somebody says it's easier to pull to sleep is a lot more easier to control. But the calling out that we're going to have this magic civility.
Exactly.
Like, when the hell did that last happen? I not in my lifetime. My grandparents, maybe when they were toddlers. Like, shit, this is not gonna magically change the discourse of Congress. It's gonna be a fucking fight to tooth and nail to help working people, just like it's always been. With Trump, like, hey, they're both racist. Hey, they're both corporatists. Hey, they're both capitalists. Like,
yeah.
They both like little children. Like, what the, like, one's at least calling them out. The other one's pretending
they're both serial gropers. Yeah.
Yeah. If we,
it's just
exactly.
It's insane. It's insane to me, and it's really easy to just say, and that's what I've been talking about for quite a few weeks too. Is like, we just have, like, people are grasping to get back to what they thought was normal.
But
that is all this is. We are so thrown out of our game being in this pandemic that it's any fucking hope to get back to normal. We'll take it. It's a chance. We've got to take it. And you've put the normal. And that's what, especially with the system that we have in place. It is not going back to normal. They're just now barely starting to recognize that. And they're saying we haven't even peaked yet.
Yeah. Not even close.
No,
look at Obama at Standing Rock. Exactly. We have example of example over the last 10 years where the Democrats sold us out when they didn't have to, when they could have appeased the people, where they could have at least threw us some fucking crumbs, and they don't even do that. So I have no delusions that, okay, we're just going to vote for Biden and then they're going to be like, we're the winners. So now this is all going to trickle down to you guys and we're going to fix these things. Bullshit. They wouldn't fix them when they had control 8 years. They won't fix them now because it's all one party. It is the party of the corporate elite, and fuck the 99. And until we realize that it's not about a two-party system anymore, it's about the 1% against the 99%, we're never going to get anywhere as a country. Last night in Portland, we saw the 99 fighting back, and I can't wait to bring you guys that clip tonight. So tune in for the Accidental Activists, 7:00 tonight. We're going to go over this because it's going to take us people getting in the streets, the 99. We are the 99. We are not the Democrats. We are not the Republicans. We are the 99% that are being screwed by the 1%. Wake up, people. That's where we got to change it.
Wow.
It's not at the ballot box. That is not an option.
Yeah,
wow.
It's not an option. We tried. We've tried for years and years and years.
Wow.
It ain't going to happen.
I think Shanda should get a super chat. Anybody got a couple of bucks that you can tuck into her G? Come on, she just keeps. I know. But Trump, ladies. But Trump, damn it! You're missing the big picture. But Trump. Here's what I got to say, Dave. Dave, I like you a lot, but this one I would, throw our team of people who talk about this in this country against you all day long. And I think Fiorella and Pasta and Jimmy Dore will be on our team. You can bring whoever you want. You can bring, Sam Cedar and the rest of them. But in the end, we're going to kick your ass, David Dole, in a loving way. And we're going to kick Sam Cedar's ass and the rest of them who are advocating this vote blue no matter who bullshit. I will say that today. And if we get our ass kicked, I'll humbly kiss your fucking foot. But
they can kiss my foot because I saw the Chomsky letter.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I'll take no money. Yeah,
bullshit. He's manufacturing consent. Who taught us about manufacturing consent? So then he turns around and fucking does it.
Yeah. I get it.
Hypocrisy.
I get it. I mean, unless Noam knows something like, Trump's got a nuke pointed at his family's house, I don't know what's going on.
Honestly, I don't think Noam can know that nowadays. His cognitive decline is pretty bad right now.
Well, I think you both have made it clear. You're taking one bad piece of shit out and you're putting in another, and both those pieces of shit work for the same group. It's the oligarch, the wealthy oligarch that's running the damn planet. And my thing actually to throw back at Dave, other than what you guys said, it's never been changed whether they have the majority or not, is that having Trump in there is going to get people more in the streets than putting Sleepy Joe in there and lulling everybody back to sleep. But they will, once Joe gets in there, if your point to follow, Dave, they are going to say, you guys better sit down and shut up or we're going to give you Trump again.
Just take your Soma.
Yeah. They're going to tell you you're going to get Trump again if you keep fighting us on this stuff. You're going to end up with Trump. So they're going to fear you again into this thing. And I'll tell you again, the Obama administration was a disaster on so many levels that mean most to the planet and the people when it comes from healthcare to environmental destruction to economic inequality to everything. So don't bring me, the Obama years were so great. We just need to go back to that normalcy. Well, you're going to have to tell me what was good about that so-called normalcy. TPP. Oh, TPP. That he was.
Go over and over immigration.
Yeah, it's just a nightmare.
Bombing.
You want that again?
Bombing.
You want that again?
Deals.
So it's time. It's time. We're going to have to get out in the streets. They're killing us. Literally, they are killing us now in our homes. So we're going to have to do something about it. It's been a wonderful show.
It's going to be when you're not in your home and you're on the street that you have no choice but to be in the street.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, they're going to put you out on the street. But, this one here, I forgot to put this one in earlier. Shanna, is this the new reality? Is this what we have here with the baseball and the guy in the background there?
Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, is that we found Bernie. He's still out there. And we're not saying that Bernie's this Bernie, but this is Bernie. And this is our new reality. We get to watch virtual baseball and virtual football and virtual. So
until they all get sick and they cancel that. Thank you so much, Curious49.
Oh, Curious. Oh, that's so kind. Thank you for supporting us, Curious. You got a fan there, Shanda, along with two others right here next to you. So you ladies just keep speaking truth to power. I've got to say it's always fun doing these shows. Now, I want to talk about scheduling. We decided that Oz was getting too cranky to have him do it 7 days a week. So we're going to give Oz Sundays and Thursdays off. So I won't be engineering anything unless by special request. So Thursday, no Thursday dive. Oz has got to go be, groceries or whatever and feed the girls. And Sundays, just to keep my sanity and keep me married. My wife is really going to be happy about that. So tonight we have the Accidental Activist. And what are you guys going to do kind of a tandem thing or together thing? What's your concept?
Well, in the future, we're going to kind of bring the whole Chamber thing together.
Yay, Chamber!
That's a natural creation. But Friday nights, one of us will either be on the Accidental Activist or Brave New Future, or we'll combine them and do a show together. So every Friday at 7, you'll have one of us or both of us.
Well, that's good. And I'll make that commitment because Friday nights ain't like they used to be anymore. We used to be able to go out to the movies or have a nice dinner, but no, we'll spend them together. So that's okay. Thank you so much.
Make sure you follow us on Rockfin. We're going to start doing more premium content over there.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep tabs on us 100% of the time, definitely make sure you're following us over there. There's a lot of great content.
Yeah.
And we're going to be putting more over there.
Yeah.
Progressive content over there. Go check it out. I mean, there's Black Bear's over there. Jimmy Dore's over there. I mean, all of our favorites are over there.
Yeah, the natural progressive.
Click on your Rockfin as is your YouTube, and you got a lot less bullshit and hassle in Rockfin.
Yeah.
Start jumping off of YouTube, guys. YouTube is censoring so bad. They're demonetizing. They're copyright claiming everything. It's time for us to pack up and move. As progressives, we're not welcome here. You know where we're not welcome, we'll move on.
Yeah, and it's only fair. They've been using us for years, ever since they got going, and it's made them rich beyond avarice. So now we're going to use them as long as we can to get people over to platforms like Rockfin. Yeah. Do we need to be monetized? Yeah, we do. We need 25 cents or whatever change you can throw at us, and Rockfin's going to enable that for us and many other great shows over there. So again, sign in, go to Uphill Media and sign in. Or if any of our showrunners or anybody that, we're grouped with have their own show over there at Rockfin, I'm encouraging all showrunners to go over to Rockfin and get their own channel over there. Because I'm going to be honest, we have to be independent. We have to have our autonomy. We've got to be able to speak truth to power. We lost her again. So anyway, no joke.
Quantum leaped again.
You quantum leaped. There we go again. Let's get you back in there. So tomorrow, I think we're going to be doing No Joke's got to be out. Marcus had to have tooth repair again, and that's very painful, as you know. So 10 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to have the dive for a while. I don't know what it's going to be, but we're hopefully going to make it fun. So is there any other announcements we need to make today for everybody? And thanks for the super chat, Jesus Jesus. Is there anything else we want to talk about? Nope. I
think that's it for today. Just keep rocking out there. Stay connected. Stay healthy.
And, stay strong.
Let's do what we need to get through the winter.
Yeah, let's do that. We're gonna go out today with something. I always liked this song. Do you guys remember the Verve, the Bittersweet Symphony? I always liked that kind of song. And this one in particular, it was from a concert somewhere that they did a cover of the Bittersweet Symphony. And I thought it was nice to see all those people kind of united because they know that life is a bittersweet symphony. And just let me know if we've got some sound. Have a great day. Come and check us out tonight at The Accidental Activist. And Shanda keeps time warping out of here. So we're going to go to Bittersweet Symphony. And this is Verve Rockin' Live. And if it starts clipping, let me know.
Have a good weekend.
Bye. Is there sound here? Ow! Not me, us.